by the end we'll see where the moon and water meet, somewhere close to harmony when the world is sound asleep. Something's gonna bring the change, journeys we are meant to take, something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I, jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Something's gonna bring the change, journeys we are meant to take, something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away.
To hit the scene, Class vs. Crass. The mastermind of this operation is Jason Levine. Class vs. Crass. With the help of his scruffy buddy, 85 to the RGT. Class vs. Crass.
Good evening, all you beautiful people, and welcome to the Class vs. Crass Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Hey Jay. Joining me as always, we got RGT85 and his bling. All right.
Greetings. Hey, I haven't taken this off yet.
No, leave the gold chain.
It's the Sunday bling. And to my left, we have the Dynamite Giraffe. Sporting, is that a new mic?
No. Same old.
Well, forget I brought attention to that. Is that even the one that you're using? It picks up from that far?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how well it is right now. I just turned it down. I was messing with some settings on it. So it's not as loud.
If I put mine away, can you hear from back here?
It's not as prevalent.
That's the one thing I don't like about this. You basically have to be making out with it to get good sound.
But I also stuck like the little pop filter in the back so it would stop picking up my fan.
Oh, that's smart.
It looks ghetto, but
hello, all the viewers. If it is your first time joining us, it is a 1-hour gaming podcast where we talk about all the latest in gaming. With the big headlines, this has been a fascinating week, especially if you're into the gaming industry, because we have a lawsuit between Epic Games and Apple, which is revealing a ton of stuff. Nintendo opened up their books and revealed a ton of stuff. Greg opened up his books and he's
you saw my bankruptcy filings.
I hope not. So we're going to go over that. We go over what we've been playing for this past week, where we're at in our grinds, because we've kind of shifted to grind. Notice how we're all grinding something lately in games, specifically games, video games.
People.
No. And then the last 15 minutes is the lightning round. That's where we take your topics, your questions, and we bounce it up amongst each other. But first, before we get started, what is on your shirt, Greg?
Kirby,
what's the theme? What's the full design? You've always got the best shirts. Do you know what it says?
I've worn this. No.
Oh.
Probably says something like Kirby.
Or just poi, whatever he says.
What does he say? All he does is inhale.
Hi. But less.
What?
Less.
What?
He says hi. Kirby says hi.
Does he?
Kirby always, come on, that is his most like if you ask what does Mario say, wahoo? Well, Kirby says hi.
This just sounds like made up.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Okay, let's look up Kirby's catchphrase. Kirby's catchphrase. Well, the internet is failing me today, but
Well,
apparently
it's surprise.
Apparently it's Pollo. Pollo? What? Have you guys ever heard him say?
Tetris.
Look at this. So there's a poll. This is not going to help my case, but it's going to educate everyone, including myself. What is Kirby's catchphrase with 93 votes? Is it hi or Pollo? And apparently 65% believe it's Pollo. So he does have a catchphrase. Hi is a second runner-up. I'd love to hear what chat thinks. Is it Pollo, hi, or something else?
Poo-poo.
So your shirt probably says Pollo.
Yeah, sick, dude.
All right. Kirby news aside, we got an update. If anyone's on Facebook and you want to join the People versus RGT Facebook group, we have learned that is a thing and has wonderful content, including tracking the lies from Sean Long, aka RGT85. Good critical feedback, specifically on his editing, and lots of coverage about Balan Wonderworld. So,
And Shenmue.
And Shenmue. What's the Shenmue controversy? I missed that one.
That was like a couple of years ago. There was a report that Shenmue 1 and 2 was going to come to the Switch, and so I talked about it, and that's what the main guys hung up on.
Agent Iron Cat says it's Poyo, by the way, so we're gonna go with Poyo. All right, let's get started with the basics. What have you been playing, Sean?
Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil Village, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Titanfall.
I didn't even realize that was
Pokemon
out.
Snap. Yeah, it came out Friday. I already beat it.
I did see that. Took you like 8 hours.
Yeah. People really like it, so I'm not gonna make a video on it because I don't feel like listening to people bitch. But I didn't really like it that much. It's not scary at all. I'll avoid spoilers. It's not scary at all. I literally was never scared. And like Resident Evil 7 and Outlast 2, those games scared the shit out of me.
Scariest
Never.
ones?
I'd say they're up there.
Mm-hmm.
But I was never scared. I never felt in danger. And I played it on the standard difficulty. Ammunition was plentiful. The gunplay is good. It looks nice. The game's kind of disjointed, I feel. I feel like some of the concepts were added in after the fact. I didn't really like the last, I wouldn't say 3/4 of the game, but I wouldn't say half of the game. So like whatever's in between that. There was like a segment of the game that lasted a couple hours towards the end of the game where you're in just one type of area. And I didn't like it. I thought it was very generic and boring. And the creatures that you fight in there were kind of dumb. I kind of liked the story. A lot of people didn't like the twist. I kind of liked the twist. I thought it was interesting enough. And I didn't rush through the game or anything. Like I read all the notes. I went just at my own pace. The puzzles are very simplistic. Some of the characters, especially like characters that were heavily promoted in the trailer of the game, definitely don't live up to expectations in terms of what they do in the game and what they like learning about their backstory or really lack thereof. I felt it's a good game. It's if I scored games, I'd give it an 8-ish, but anything above that, like, I don't know. It almost feels like Resident Evil 4 gunplay pacing versus Resident Evil 7's kind of first person setting. I think I just prefer the third person games more. Oh, and on the standard difficulty, I think I died 4 times in the whole game.
Was any of those deaths by Lady Damascus and her fingers?
No,
whatever her name is.
Zero of them were.
You didn't get skewered.
Really?
She's a fucking joke in the game. She really is. And comparative to Resident Evil 7, I died 1 billion times. I never had ammo in that game. Like, I was always scrounging. I was always, struggling. And in this game, it was just a fucking walk in the park. And like, I don't know, maybe they wanted to make it more accessible to people, which is whatever. But yeah, I mean, and there's end game stuff. You unlock the mercenary stuff. I've been doing that. There's stuff that you can, by doing certain acts in the game, you get like completion points, and then you can spend those completion points on fun stuff like unlimited ammo on certain guns and stuff like that. So I kind of just did like another playthrough. But when you do that, you could skip all the cutscenes and stuff. You really realize how little of a game there is at times in there, because like a part that took me like 2 hours watching the cutscenes took me like 15 minutes to get through when skipping all the cutscenes. So yeah, like, I don't know. Just after Resident Evil 2 remake, and I guess to an extent Resident Evil 3 remake, even though that game was very short as well, I just prefer the third-person Resident Evil games. I think they work better, but,
Is that like, that's 4? Again, someone who has never played Resident Evil here. Resident Evil 4, that's the third person?
Well, I mean, all of them were until 7.
Okay. What's your favorite one?
I would have to say the original, followed by 2, followed by Code Veronica, followed by... I've grown to appreciate 4 over time, even though 4 is when the whole action focus started to take place. No, you know what? I would put Revelations, the original Revelations, slightly before 4, because that's a game that I feel was the perfect blend of the traditional with the more modern action. No, maybe I'll put 4, but yeah, something like that.
Do you think it's a case of the COVID that the game is so short?
No, that has nothing to do with that. This game's been in development ever since RE7 was done, I'm sure.
Okay.
But I did hear that there was some developmental stuff that happened with the game, but supposedly the portion of the game that I had a problem with was always intended. Oh, and one of the bosses, did you ever watch the Goosebumps show?
Yeah, I did.
You remember the Say Cheese and Die episode?
I don't remember that one. I can't say I watched all of them.
The guy looks just like the guy in Say Cheese and Die. I'll send you a picture.
Do you still watch Goosebumps? You seem pretty knowledgeable about the lore here.
It's on Netflix.
Is it? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, the whole thing is on Netflix. So where's not the fucking what's his face was the kid in that? The guy who was Ryan Gosling was in that episode.
No,
he was the lead guy.
That's weird.
There, that's the picture of the guy.
Popular at the time? Is this like his?
No, this is like one of his first gigs.
Whoa, that's crazy. Where'd you share it?
Facebook messages. It looks just like the guy looks just like Heisenberg from RE8.
Creepy.
And it took me out of the game because I'm like, it's fucking the guy from Say Cheese and Die. Just put him back in the camera. You'll be fine.
So creepy.
But yeah, I know I said a lot of negative things about it. I only say a lot of negative things because I feel like a lot of people didn't say a lot of negative things about it. They just, new Resident Evil, 9 out of 10, game of the year contender. But to me, no, I wouldn't. Monster Hunter Rise league's better in my opinion of games that I've played this year so far that came out this year. So yeah, I don't think it's as good as that, but I'm sure it'll sell well.
Have you played it, Greg? I know you're a big Resident Evil fan.
Yeah, I started it I think Saturday or Friday, one of the nights. I don't remember, but I streamed like the first hour and some change. A lot of the same sentiments like so far. I haven't completed it, so I'm in a little bit of a different situation. I think the game looks pretty damn good. I kind of got initially like Resident Evil 4 vibes just in the layout of the village and its similarity to, how the village is laid out, doors and these narrow walkways as Resident Evil 4. That I did feel that right off the bat. There was enough ammo. I did find, some of the destroyable crates with ammo in them early on, and there was quite a few. I did go into panic mode though, like the first section where you're like running through the house and they're all chasing you. That's one thing though
that's the only time where you're in danger in the game.
Really?
Where you're talking, and then the dude with the big mallet thing comes down, and then they all disperse after that.
Yeah,
that's the only time I was ever in danger in this game. You'll never have that feeling again. I swear to you, you won't. Even playing it back. Even playing it back when doing a subsequent run through, once again, I had unlimited ammo, and still I felt like, this is a little bit tense. And then it was like, okay, now we're done.
Yeah, I didn't like the aiming, the gunplay so far. It feels like, I think Treon said in the chat, it's a little shaky, and like I tried to turn off some of the features like the camera shake, and like I think there's the one thing that it doesn't have is like the field of view slider, and it actually made me pretty nauseous and a little bit dizzy playing, just because I felt like I was like so close. That's something I experienced with the Evil Within, even though it is third person. I just felt like it was just too constrictive. But yeah, I don't like when, especially for Resident Evil, when there's a difference. Like, they've gone the route where they make these like ginormous monsters that have mutated because of different strains of the virus, but then they tried to like make more human type monsters, and it's different in Resident Evil 7 when you're dealing with a family and they're still more human like than they are monster like, and then this one they just look like orcs from, I don't know, like Lord of the Rings or something.
It's almost like they took remember the Underworld movies?
Yeah.
It's almost like they took that and they were like, all right, we're gonna do Resident Evil Underworld because of all the lichens and werewolves and stuff like that. Like they sort of explain why those things come to be. It's nothing that's really thrusted in your face. You kind of have to read about it in documents. And then they tried to like bring things full circle with other Resident Evil games, which I found to be very interesting. But and then another thing is I don't think Ethan is really that interesting of a character.
Yeah.
I guess the plot twist is kind of interesting, and it's definitely a love it or hate it thing with him. But it's he's just kind of boring as a character. Like he's just a very generic guy who seems to get his mind stuck on one thing.
Stupid question.
Yeah, and the whole like really attaching the hand and then the whatever that happens in this one too is just kind of, I don't know, it takes me out of the immersion.
Yeah, stupid question as a non-Resident Evil player. Is it always the same virus, same timeline, or different universes?
It usually is interconnected.
Okay,
Yeah.
so same universe.
Yeah, but
Different
there's
characters
offshoot
unlocked.
games as well and stuff like that. So it could be very hard to keep up with.
It's not like Zelda, where you're like, anything goes, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, like I mean, Chris was in 1 and he's been, referenced in or playable in other games, and then Chris is still in 8. So, he's been there. And then characters die as well. So, those characters aren't represented.
James
Usually,
says same universe, multiple viruses.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's never like just like, this is, the story, like how Star Wars is, they're, 1 through 9. There's always like,
It only goes up to 6, Greg.
Oh, shut up. And they take the like pockets of these like little stories and tell these, things that happen, like Resident Evil 3, where it's like still part of the main events that are happening, except you're seeing the point of view from somebody, in Raccoon City that's still trying to escape. Or they go to South Africa, or there's different parts of the world. I don't know. I think that's one thing that they do as well, is like skip around to each story, and I don't know, they've managed to build this massive universe, and I still think they're figuring out the first person aspect to their games now, and which may come across in the way that Village has for some people. But I don't know. I'll see how I.
Were you a fan of the lady so far? Which I completely mispronounced earlier. It's actually Dimitrescu or something.
Yeah, I haven't met her yet. But,
okay.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've been playing Resident Evil for a long time as well too, and I'm trying to figure out where this one sits with me still. So, but I do think that the RE engine is like one of the better things, I guess, to come out of the late Resident Evils, because the Resident Evil 3 remake, at Resident Evil 2, and then the Resident Evil 3 remake, and then 7, and then this one. I mean, they're very, the engine does very well in building the atmosphere and the environments to the game. I don't know if it necessarily has an impact on gameplay, because just the style of Resident Evil games is kind of slower. It's not necessarily, action forward, unless it's something like Resident Evil 5 or 6,
right,
which were total changes. But yeah, I'll have to agree with Revelations, because that game was fun as hell on the 3DS, and it looked great.
Anything else you've been playing?
Just the usual grind.
And
The new season of Apex Legends dropped, and so there's a lot of changes to that, and I've had a lot of fun with it so far.
do you spend money in your grind games?
Like the free to play?
Like, I assume Apex Legends has probably like a battle pass kind of system.
Yeah, I have, and you know, if I hadn't progressed to the point that I have within the past couple of seasons, I probably wouldn't have.
Hmm.
But it really depends. Like in Rocket League, you know, I'll unlock all sorts of different toppers for cars, wheels, paint. There's like light trails you can get for your tires, different trails. You can get the goal animations and stuff. And so if I don't unlock something that I see that somebody else has that I really, really like, or like a style of something that I really like, then I'll spend the money to buy the parts to get it. But not all the time, sometimes.
Okay. I ask because I've been playing Hearthstone more competitively the last few weeks, and I'm revisiting it after 3 years of being away, and they've added a lot of more modes and mechanics to hook you in, including kind of like a battle pass system. And the first week I looked at it all, I'm like, these are all so obvious cosmetic cash grabs. And I have now spent money in Hearthstone. Because I'm like, well, you know, I spent all this time, and it's that justification, right? This game is giving me value, and I'm like looking into the more like intricate things, and there's the whole achievement things, and like I have a really good deck right now that I was able to build for free from all my old progress. And I've been playing that for 2 weeks, and I'm just like, I'm kind of bored of it. I want to like experiment more, and you meet other people. And I'm like, I want to try these other decks. But then that's when you got to start grinding out either with a lot of time or with a little bit of money. So Hearthstone is a slippery slope. You can easily dump like $1,000 into that. So I'm trying not to cross triple digits.
Yeah, and I think it's, you know, like I was saying, if you genuinely enjoy the game and they add new modes, and then there's other cosmetic things, like Apex Legends just added arenas, so it's like a 3v3 versus another team, and you go round by round, and then you can like unlock new tiers of weapons and stuff that you don't pay for. It just, that's, you know, the gameplay. But if you know you want to buy cosmetic stuff to show yourself off in those settings, then you know, so what.
But the cosmetic is not even so like in Hearthstone you have the hero, which is just the icon, and like you can pay to have it like animation or being gold and stuff. Honestly, that has like zero appeal to me, and they sell those for like $10. It's really just the cards, like having more cards to play with. So it's not just the drip, Gintoki. I guess other than that, I've been playing a lot of Monster. I played a hell of a lot of Monster Hunter World this past week. And I'm over 110 hours, and I just discovered an entire new system that I didn't even realize. I was going through my achievements, and there's a part where it mentions like, oh, if you get this achievement for collecting a treasure. I was like, what the hell's a treasure? I've been playing this game all this time. No one's ever mentioned a treasure. So I looked it up, and you've played World enough probably to know this, Greg. In each region, you can befriend the locals. If you do like a certain quest, like you look for doodles and you anyways, every level has a side quest that you can do, which pretty much unlocks if you are curious enough. And that unlocks tribes, and those tribes give your Palico an extra tool to help you with. And they also help you in battles and stuff. So I just unlocked all of that for all the tribes. And then if I level up the tribes to level 6, that's when it unlocks this treasure hunt for every level. So I'm just like, oh, this is my jam. This is the sort of stuff I love. So Monster Hunter World, lots of fun with that. Sean, you really need to play it, man. I don't know where you can play it.
Doesn't have a zip bug. I have it. It's on my PlayStation.
It has a claw if you get Iceborne.
It's not the wire bug.
It definitely is not the wire bug. It's epic. It's awesome. And Rise was a complete opposite. Because Rise, I got into my first Apex monster in a rampage, and I still don't like rampages. I did a little rant video about it. I don't want to rehash that video, but not a fan of rampage. It's too much, too hectic. The UI is cluttered. Just everything about it is just a vomit on the screen.
Scream vomit.
Did you guys like the Rampage mode?
I didn't hate it.
But you didn't like it. Love it like you hate it, meh.
I like it.
Okay, okay.
I didn't play it.
You've been playing Rise a bit though.
I haven't touched it, and actually, I set up my Switch the other night to play it, and I didn't even touch it.
You just put it into the dock, and you're like, ah, yes, that's where you belong.
I did that. I just picked up some other retro games and stuff too, and I set it up to play them, and I just fell asleep instead, like an old person. I was like, yeah, and I'll just kick back for 20 minutes, and then I'll jump right into it. And nope.
It's kind of funny because a lot of the comments on my video, it's either like half are agreeing of like, yeah, Rampage suck, and the other one's like, no, it's enjoyable. I do it to like turn my brain off. I'm like, is it enjoyable then? Like, you know, people say it's less stressful. The only thing I felt going through that was stress because I'm just like, what the hell's going on? Like, I didn't feel threatened. I didn't feel like I was gonna die. I was in a multiplayer match with my mods, and I couldn't. Like I was stressed at like performance anxiety. Like they're all bouncing up and doing stuff, and I'm just like, how do I keep up? And I'm just like making errors left and right. Yeah.
Jason.
Yeah.
Jason.
But hey, it wouldn't be the first thing that I say I don't like that I end up 180 on it. So we'll see how it goes.
I thought you were gonna say that's not the first thing I've had performance issues with.
No, we don't go there.
Hey.
Anything else you guys been playing, or should we get into our headlines?
No, that's about it.
All right. Nintendo or Epic Games? You guys have a preference?
I don't care.
Nintendo it is. So, Nintendo financials came out last week. Some big takeaways from that. Spectacular year, as is pretty much no surprise. Basically, I think it was their most profitable year ever, in part because of Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing was one of their largest selling games.
What are you doing?
Looking at the notes.
Largest selling
I'm trying to talk while reading, and you can see the brain is not keeping up. It's a one track. You can only do one thing at a time.
It's just crazy to me though that they just hit their stride, and they had the most perfect circumstances to do so, and that was unfortunately a pandemic. But at the same time, you know, they were able to sell numerous amounts of Switch consoles. Animal Crossing was a hit because what else are you going to do?
Do you think I'm kind of answering this as I ask you. Do you really think the pandemic was because Animal Crossing has been getting more popular every year, like every release? I mean,
it didn't hurt.
Definitely,
I don't think it hurt.
Definitely did not hurt. So it's surpassed the Game Boy Advance. It's on its way to surpassing the Wii by the end of this year. Some are saying. I'm pretty sure this will be Nintendo's best-selling console / handheld. Can we say handheld? Did the DS sell more than the Wii, if you guys recall?
Yes.
It did?
I think.
Okay. Well, definitely their best-selling console.
Yeah, the DS sold 154 mil.
Wow. That stuff's crazy. Although they milked that for many years.
Yeah.
The 3DS was considered a different platform, right? Like
Yes.
they didn't bundle them together.
That was 80-something thousand, I think.
Damn. So Animal Crossing sold 36 million copies. That is completely year to year, 36 million copies. However, it has not dethroned
75 million.
Oh, has not dethroned Mario Kart 8. Do you guys know how many units Mario Kart 8 has moved?
I do not.
37, wasn't it?
35.39.
Okay.
Animal Crossing 32.63. 3 million behind Mario Kart 8. Can you imagine the journey? Like, I remember my introduction to Mario Kart was on the 64. And like Animal Crossing came out not too long after that. Like, it's just so crazy to see the trajectory of these series where Mario Kart kind of went whoop, and then Animal Crossing just kind of like caught up later.
See, I played the Super Nintendo version of Mario Kart first, and then later occasionally played the 64 because we opted to get a PlayStation instead of a Nintendo console at the time.
Oh, I remember my cousin had a Super Nintendo, and we both wanted Mario. Like we both want him to get Mario Kart, but like we're too young to buy video games. I remember just like looking at magazines, I'm like, oh my god, it's Mario in like a racing, and there's bananas on the road. Like it just like looks so novel and like awesome as a concept. So yeah, finally got to play it on the 64.
What's your guys' favorite Mario Kart, like out of the entire franchise?
8.
I would say 8 Deluxe.
8 Deluxe if we're being specific, yes.
With 64 being second. I played 64 more than I did Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo one was fine, but I don't love it.
It didn't age well.
I don't know. Double Dash is like, I don't know. It's hard for me to give Mario Kart 8 the crown when Double Dash was just, I don't know. I just felt like it was so much fun.
See, I didn't really play it when it first came out. I didn't play it till after. So my vision on it's a bit skewed.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've always liked the 3D. So the Super Nintendo one, by the time I did play it, I played 3D Mario Kart, so it felt like nothing. I remember having really bad memories of Double Dash. I just did not like it. Going from Mario Kart to Double Dash just felt so weird. I think I didn't like the added mechanic of like switching drivers. Just something felt off about it. And then the Wii was all right, but I feel Mario Kart 8 and Deluxe is where like it all just kind of came together and just jived really well. And like, you know, you have more like cameo drivers and courses and stuff. So
I like the Wii version. Even the motion controls I felt were decent enough to play. Like I could play, you know, round after round with just motion controls.
Yeah, so could I.
On the Wii, yeah, I really did. I never played with the wheel though. I hated the wheel.
I like the wheel.
I like the wheel.
Wait, when I say motion controls, what is it? Is it you could like wiggle it to jump? I think it was the you do like a little shake to jump. That's what I liked. When you got off a ramp and you just like give a little shake. Other major headlines that came out of the Nintendo financial report: Illumination founder Chris Melandry joined the Nintendo board, but I don't think we care about that. And Nintendo's upcoming release schedule for 2021 looks promising and positive, which is something I actually did want to dive into because this is always good stuff. It's always good to remember kind of what's coming up on Nintendo's calendar. So in terms of United States, Europe, as of May 2021, so new Pokemon Snap, which we've seen already. We've got Famicom Detective Club coming, which I don't think anybody here cares. Correct me if I'm wrong. Miitopia, also don't think anyone here cares. I'm actually going to skip. I think Mario Golf is the only one that you guys are interested in, right?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, 2021 actually doesn't have much yet. You got Splatoon 3, Pokemon Legends, that's all 2022.
Yeah, because they're waiting for E3.
Do you think we're going to see any of the ones that have been announced, Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime 4, or Breath of the Wild sequel at E3 this year?
If I had to pick in order of probability, I would put Breath of the Wild 2 at the top, Bayonetta 2 or Bayonetta 3 in the middle, and way below that would be Metroid Prime 4.
Agree with you.
Yeah.
And then stuff that we just can't predict. I think there's going to be a Zelda game of some kind. Like it's either going to be, for lack of a better word, like a gimmick, as in something we just have not seen yet. And maybe a port or a remake of another Zelda game that is not Skyward Sword. Probably one of the top-down games. All right. You what?
Minish Cap, maybe.
Minish Cap would be nice. Imagine E3 comes out and then there's nothing. Have you heard of 2015 Hall? That was a dark year. And this gentleman down below, you didn't know him at the time, but he made a fantastic video and I will always remember it. It was a month before E3. And he was so hyped about how much potential Nintendo had in 2015. And this was the year that they were going to show what the Wii U could do. And you know what we got? We got Mario Tennis Aces. That was the highlight game of that year.
Great game. Yeah, I'll put that. I'll put that video.
Appreciate that. There was no Zelda
Chat.
U that had been announced. Oh, and this was coming off of 2014 where we got.
Oh wait, sorry, I put the wrong video in the chat, but everyone should click that video.
Oh, what did you drop? What did you drop?
I still remember that whole tech demo that they had for the Wii U for Zelda with the big spider.
For the Wii, yeah, that was a Wii U tech demo. I'm still opening up your link here. If you're throwing one of my old ones, it's a link to. Which one is it? Why are you laughing? What is it? Why is my thing not linking correctly? I can't open it.
It's fine.
No, you don't need to see it.
Why can't I open it though? It's linking me to Studio YouTube. Hold on. If I take Studio out, it works. Oh, you dick.
9 out of 10, folks.
You dick. Epic Games is off in their lawsuit with Apple. You know, Kickbeat. No, hang on. Kickbeat is a 5-year-old story. You know what's more recent than Kickbeat? Balan Wonderland. How's that going? You enjoying that?
Hey, I made a video on it talking about it was crap.
Yeah.
I owned up to my mistakes, unlike some.
Have you played Kickbeat recently? Have you ever played Kickbeat? Well, then how do you not know it's not?
Has anyone played Kickbeat?
Nobody can challenge me on that 9 out of 10 until you play Kickbeat.
Well, it's 60 on Metacritic.
Who cares what Metacritic thinks?
I mean, it's just
Star Fox Zero also got like 50 on Metacritic, and I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Well, Star Fox Zero is a fun game.
Hey, Star Fox Zero is one of the things Sean and I agree on. You don't like it,
the
Craig?
the one thing.
I think it's probably the only thing we've ever agreed on.
Yeah, I didn't care for it too much.
You didn't like the once it clicked, and it clicked for me at the final boss, but it clicked.
I had no problem with it from an early standpoint of it.
Anyways, Apple and Epic Games are dueling it off in court, and tons of Business Insider information is coming out of it. The biggest one, this one, which I shared with you guys in the Facebook group if you want to open it for your reference. We basically finally understand what Epic Games' free game model looks like now. We can see how much money they paid all those games that have been available for free in the Epic Game Launcher, and we can see that it's actually a really smart user acquisition model. In my experience, anything that's like $1 or $2 for a user acquisition is a good deal. And in a lot of these cases, Epic kind of hit that number with the worst one. And I'm surprised by this. Their worst investment was with Celeste, where they got a user acquisition cost of $12. They gave Celeste $750,000 to put that for free on the Epic Games.
Motherfuckers getting paid.
Yeah. Did you guys look at these numbers at all? It's fascinating. Some of these games like Subnautica, I never would have guessed they would have given $1.4 million for Subnautica. Super Meat Boy did not negotiate good at all. $50,000, although they were one of the earlier games.
Well, I wonder if this is going to be a problem down the road, because now you know what other motherfuckers got. So now you could be like, oh, well, look at this. Back in 2019, Overcooked got, $225,000. Why am I not getting more? It's crazy that Overcooked got more money than Alan Wake did.
See, and I wonder too if this is, just like any other sales job or any other, job out there where you're negotiating contracts, or, if the studio behind the games, are not experienced in negotiation, or I don't know, and that's where you get some of these low numbers from, or if you would have to imagine that Ed McMillan is I don't know, he's always come across as the kind of person that's just like, fuck it, whatever, I don't care.
Well, see, he got $200,000 for The End Is Nigh.
Wow. Look at Rhyme. Rhyme was a good game. They got $45,000. That was bad. Bad negotiations on their part.
Yeah, and if that is the case, though, that's also kind of weird to see these numbers out in the open, because the sales jobs that I've had, when we're talking about marking up price or not discounting yourself or any of those things, like all those numbers are internal. You would never see them even in a court case out in the open.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's weird to see this being posted and just seeing what it's interesting.
I think it's unprecedented to get this much insight into how the industry is working. And I don't know if Epic clearly knew this was going to be a thing, but I don't know how much they cared about divulging this at this point. Like, they are now 2-3 years into their Epic Games. No, they're 3 years into their Epic Games strategy for user acquisition. They've acquired, it actually says how many, they've acquired over 5 million accounts through this strategy. So I think they're less desperate at this point, in the sense that if people are going to start, like an indie's going to start trying to negotiate up for, like, I don't know, 1.5 million was what was negotiated for Batman Arkham, which I think is probably like your most valuable IP on this entire list. That's kind of your ceiling if you're an indie developer, unless you have something really unique or crazy.
But even for me personally, like, nothing's really been that attractive on the Epic Games Store that it's pulled me to buy a game there versus, the GOG launcher or the Bethesda launcher or the Steam launcher or Origin. Like, I'd probably say Origin and Steam are the two I use most, and Origin only because if a game's not available, or there's some free offer, then I'll go buy it there. Or if I get a code, like even Resident Evil, I got a code off of CD Keys for the deluxe version with all the DLCs, and it was only $58, but it was for a Steam redemption. So that's the only reason really why I got it there. But I don't see that, like, big names drawing people like me back into it.
I don't think I've purchased a single game on Epic Games launcher, despite like redeeming the free games. I create an account to be there. I don't know if I created to do that or to play Fortnite. But I mean, it's clearly brought in users, but then I'd love to see the stats of, like, well, do those users convert to purchases? Because in Epic Games, I've gotten a lot of, like, vouchers where they're like, oh, if you use a voucher, you have a sale. But I'm like, I don't want my game to live there when all my games currently live on Steam, or they live on my Nintendo, or they live on my PlayStation. Like, I don't want to create a new branch for my game libraries. And oftentimes the free ones are just the ones where I'm like, I'll try this, but I'm not excited to, like, buy it, right?
Yeah, like a game like Just Cause. Like, if Just Cause 3 or 4 goes free, it's like, and I think that was the case actually for Just Cause 3, and I spent a little time playing it, and then I was like, okay, I experienced this and not my cup of tea, and
there's that too. I don't think I've played a single game out of the free ones on Epic Games where I, like, put in more than an hour. Like, they're all games I've basically tried. I've treated it like a demo platform I've played. I'm like, no, not really feeling this one. And the ones I do want, I'm very happy to pay for them, honestly. Like, if a game has a reputation around it, or I know I want it, I'll just drop some money on it.
Some people don't have that.
There you go. Coming out with the stabs. Some people can't. And this is a great system for the people who can't afford to buy whatever their impulses want them to buy. I was always for the program. I'm just saying, for a user like Gray, or a user like me, or a user like you, Sean, because I don't think you used Epic Games Launcher.
No, I don't do PC though.
But you bought a gaming PC.
For editing.
But you were talking about playing games when you first bought it.
I mean, theoretically, it's nice to have the option. Doesn't mean I have to utilize the option.
Right. All right. In other leaks, if you will, out of the Epic court, did you guys see Samus Aran was part of the internal documents where Epic was trying to?
And so was Snake Plissken, and so was Lady Gaga. Don't put too much stock into that.
I'm just saying, my idea from 5 months ago was not so crazy.
It still sucks.
I would love to see Samus in Fortnite personally.
We had a very large debate on the Spawncast about this last night.
Oh,
and I was like the only one who was like, I think it's stupid for Samus to be in there. Everyone was like, man, it's God. I was like, nobody's gonna fucking buy Metroid Prime 4 because Samus is in Fortnite. Nobody. I'm sorry. You can't prove me otherwise. Can't prove me otherwise. Did Street Fighter see a huge boost of sales when Ryu and Chun-Li were in there? God of War see a big boost of sales when Kratos was put in there? Halo? No, but it's safe to assume no. Because I feel like if we did know, we would have heard about it. You hear about good things. You notice that from video game companies, you tend not to hear about bad things.
Yeah.
Unless it was something crazy, like they released a special edition, or you bought it from Target and you get the free Samus Fortnite skin or something like that. Then I could see it moving, or the two selling better in tandem. But outside of that.
I understand your point of view, Sean. I get what you're saying, that Samus has a brand issue where people just don't know who she is. And it's been an issue for a long time.
No, that's pish posh.
And people don't buy Metroid. We know that people don't buy Metroid.
That's the problem. And nothing, okay, if I told you that Samus was a part, hold on, talk for like 10 seconds while I add something up real quick.
I'm going to go as to what Treon's saying. It's about making our character more well-known, and that's what I want to jump into. Okay. But I'm going to let you do whatever you want to say about it not selling.
Well, I'm almost done.
Okay, I still got to talk. Well, I love Greg's beard. There, I said it.
Thank you.
Almost done.
Pollo.
If I told you that Samus was involved in a franchise that sold over 64 million copies, over 64 million people
it's Rocket League.
have played this franchise, do you think that would be enough brand awareness to have a fucking Metroid game actually break 3 million sold? Because that's never happened.
What kind of audience was this?
The core Nintendo fans. Super Smash Brothers, that Samus has been a part of since the Nintendo fucking 64, has sold 64 million copies worldwide.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a fuck for some reason, and it's always going to be that way.
She's not a fun character in Smash Brothers.
There she is.
I've never heard that argument, and that's a pretty good one, I have to say, because I've always attributed like the Fire Emblem love to have started out of Smash Brothers. Like, I think Smash Brothers directly impacted the success of Fire Emblem in the West.
Sure. But, I mean, okay, but how much success? Fuck you. Let's pull up Fire Emblem. I mean, yes, it helped, but Fire Emblem was a series that sold like dickhole in the United States, in the West,
right
before that.
Okay.
So Metroid sold better. You know what I'm saying? Take away N64 Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Metroid sold better on the GameCube. Have you ever looked at Metroid numbers?
Yeah, they're depressing to look
at. Here we go.
They're very depressing.
You don't even have numbers. The first time we got a number for Fire Emblem was Awakening on the 3DS. Okay, that's how dog shit the series sold. Oh wait, hold on, no. Binding. Okay, here we go. I lied. We got Fire Emblem, The Binding Blade, which was the first title on the Game Boy Advance. Guess how many that sold?
Fire Emblem
350K.
That was out west?
Yes. That was on the Game Boy Advance, the system that sold over 80 million units.
Right. Well, that was a new IP for the West audience at the time.
Three Houses hasn't even broke 3 mil, by the way.
Really? I thought it did better than that. I have not been paying attention to Fire Emblem because I didn't drink that Kool-Aid yet.
I don't know. I might be wrong on that. Hold on. Let me say.
There was a lot of hype for 3 million.
But why do you think that is, though? Like, why do you think that...
It's a niche franchise.
I feel like they've never really
why Samus is low?
Yeah, I feel like they've never really gone in to say, like, this is, Samus, this is her backstory, this is who she is as a person. It's always just been, you're in the action, go.
The IP never evolved with Nintendo's vision. Like, I think it evolved when the GameCube, when Metroid Prime came, that was an evolution of the series. And I think that's when it peaked.
True.
And it was the perfect timing because that's when first-person shooters were on the rise. And this was Nintendo's answer to that.
But then also, it was the GameCube.
Well, there was a lot of reasons. But I don't think Nintendo embraced it enough what the potential of Metroid Prime could have been. You know, Sean talks a lot about, I think it's Hunters on the 3DS that was like the best multiplayer Metroid.
DS.
Was the best Metroid Prime multiplayer game you could do. Why wasn't there a console Metroid Prime game that could compete in the days of Halo when everybody on their Xboxes were playing multiplayer first-person shooters? Nintendo never embraced that. And then pretty much all...
Well, you know why? I can tell you why. Because Japan doesn't give a fuck about Metroid. The only Metroid game that ever broke a mill in Japan, take a guess. Which one was it?
A million
on the Famicom.
Right. That's another factor. But pretty much after Metroid Prime, 2 and 3 sold less and less. And then Nintendo never, I think, found a reason to reinvent it because they never reinvented Metroid 4. So they tried Federation Force. That was another attempt at reinvention, making it more mainstream, which flopped. Then they brought back 3, like the old school Metroid, which weak reception. For some reason, people are just not and it's weird because right now Metroidvanias, indie Metroidvanias sell very well. Like there's a market for Metroidvanias.
To that point, if you were to do a 2D Metroid game, Metroidvania style, how are you going to charge $60 when Hollow Knight's $20?
Yeah, you can't.
They're in a kind of fucked situation, I feel, with this.
But you could, I think the Metroid IP, you could easily get it at
it's not valuable.
I think you could get it at a $30-$40 game. You tell me a 2D Metroidvania Metroid game at $40.
Nintendo's not going to do that.
Not when they can make more profits off a $60 game, probably not. Like if you're looking at it as a business case,
if the $60 game doesn't sell, then what's the point of even?
You would have to hope that the sales continue to be great because everything seems to sell on the Switch.
But why do you?
That's what you're banking it on.
So why do you think like this is really like realistic?
18 million is what the Metroid games have sold. 18 million since 1986.
Yeah, R2 makes a good point about Metroidvanias. He's like, that's why they're putting their money behind Silksong, because it's a better business case for them to just be like, hey, bring Hollow Knight here as a timed exclusive instead of making a Metroid game. All of this, very realistic point of view of the IP, but why do you think they would even bother then with a Metroid Prime 4 knowing all of this? Is it kind of the last Hail Mary?
Well, why did they give it to Bandai Namco instead of Retro Studios to start out with?
Well, I don't know, but that didn't go so well.
I mean, there's something about Metroid. Metroid fans are the fucking loudest people in the room, and when you tell them to shut the fuck up, they're like, because they'll get smacked. Like, I don't understand it. Motherfuckers, they don't put their money where their mouths is.
I think it's another issue that Metroid, and I'm kind of evaluating this thought as I'm saying it out loud. Nintendo has always been about gameplay first and not necessarily narrative. And I feel Metroid is their most narrative heavy, like it can be the most narrative heavy game. But like when you look at all their narrative, like they don't know what to do with Star Fox. It's always the same story over and over again.
Yeah.
Mario, Donkey Kong, you don't need a story there. You just need a skeleton to move your character to the right. With Metroid, the theme is always the same thing. You're always re-encountering the same villain. It's always the same vibes. It's essentially, if we're going to simplify it, the same story over and over again. Like they do not know how to tell it. Even Zelda, which is a fairly good story, is the same story over and over again.
Yeah, but at the same time, so is Halo, and up until
I don't know
the most recent
to comment.
I would just like to point out that your God game that everyone worships, Super Metroid, sold 1.42 million on the Super Nintendo. Do you know what Star Fox on the Super Nintendo sold?
No idea.
3 mil.
Wow. I mean, the marketing behind Star Fox was very different with the whole VFX.
No, this is Metroid. This is the biggest game ever. It's the greatest game. Motherfuckers do not put their money where their mouth. Wait, what number did I give you for Metroid?
1.5 or something.
1.42. Okay, it's one because because Metroid 2: Samus Returns actually sold better on the Game Boy than the Super Nintendo game.
The thing is, I don't think they've found the key that gives them the confidence to build out the IP, because we've seen when Nintendo wants to build an IP, they can. We've seen it with Animal Crossing, which was not that great of a selling franchise that has morphed into this enormous IP. We've seen Fire Emblem, enter the market here in the West 20 years ago, which has blown up to, can we get a confirmation on Three House and how much that sold? I feel either way, Fire Emblem is now an established IP here, although somewhat niche. Splatoon, which is an IP that's only 5 years old, is now in its third entry and constantly growing. I feel if Metroid can find, if Nintendo can find something that they believe in with Metroid, they're going to put the resources behind it to develop.
Well, I feel like
that
all
IP.
these other games have identities that are, maybe they are a little bit more niche, but they are fleshed out to they can say like, okay, this is the direction we're going to go in, when they're still unsure of themselves what the identity of Metroid is now. And it's like they've created the genre, or
a
3 mil. It barely broke 3 mil,
Oh, that's unfortunate.
making it the best selling Fire Emblem game.
So maybe Metroid Prime 4 is a test of a new idea, because I don't think they've ever went hard with the multiplayer aspect of Metroid, and I think there could be something there.
No, and then last night everyone was like, they don't need a fucking multiplayer. It's great single player. Okay. Release a fucking game, a first person shooter, adventure, whatever the fuck you want to call it, without an online multiplayer client. Well, BioShock Infinite, yeah, okay. BioShock was on a high. People liked the BioShock games, and also that was a decade ago. Shit's kind of changed, but okay.
So here's the thing that I think solves the problem with the Metroid that you're saying. How do you make a Metroid game at $60? This works specifically with Metroid Prime. If you can make the single player campaign feel like it's $40, the multiplayer, you tie it to Nintendo Switch Online, boom, you just got like, Nintendo is now making money on people playing multiplayer.
Yeah, tie it to this flimsy thing.
They have to make that a little bit more robust.
This piece of baloney.
Idealistically speaking,
that cost me $20 a year.
Well, maybe it'll go up to $30 so that you can get the exclusive Captain Adams skin. Is that her Captain? I forget. Or Ridley skin. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like everything about the franchise is a part of Nintendo, except the actual game. Like with the levels that you have in Super Smash Brothers, the characters in Super Smash Brothers, that's more, or adding Ridley, that's more enticing than having an actual Metroid game that sells well and does something completely different to, like you said, evolve the franchise. They're at a stalemate.
Well, the fact that they've given it to Retro, their Western studio, the fact that, as Sean pointed out, it doesn't sell in Japan, like maybe they can fine tune some kind of gameplay and an IP, like with this IP, that it can sell well in the West and just ride from there. Anyways, that was some good Metroid talk. Let's get into the lightning round. If there's any questions, comments, anything we didn't cover that you guys wanted to have discussed. And while we wait for questions, what were the other major things from the Epic
Did
Games
you hear?
Did you hear?
I heard it was a circus, though.
Xbox thought Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, Bayonetta 3, and Metroid Prime 4 would come out in 2020.
Xbox is fucking stupid if they thought that.
They also thought they could buy Nintendo once upon a time. Epic apparently wanted first-party exclusives from Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony on its digital storefront. I mean, that makes sense.
They did.
Oh yeah, there was Nintendo's Game Builder Garage, but I don't see much reason for us to talk about that.
Looks interesting.
Build your own game. I'm surprised at the price, honestly.
$30, yeah.
Yeah. For what it is, honestly, it went from me going from like, oh, this is probably going to be overpriced to, oh, maybe my son might like this. Although he doesn't like coding, so maybe not.
Mother 3, rank 1 to 10 on likelihood.
1.
It'll never.
Ooh, my admission to the RGT page has been approved.
Your what? Oh, the
my
Facebook
admission
group.
to the People versus RGT.
Rise up. Don't let the man spew all these lies unchecked. I'm just
do
going over other
anything.
headlines. Oh, Stadia is falling apart with VPN head of production who has left. And 6 other Stadia developers have left. They're all joining Jade Raymond's Haven. Jade Raymond was also a VP who left.
That's a
Stadia.
shame.
What a joke.
I wonder what's going to happen to Stadia. It's clearly not going to.
I wonder.
Like it. I don't. Do you think they would just shut it down? I don't think it's just going to shut down.
They'll have some sort of, I think, legacy thing for it, but I mean, it doesn't seem like it's progressing.
I don't think it's going to
Metroid-
progress. But
Metroid Prime Hunters came out. You had the Prime Hunters. That was the demo that was packaged in with the original DS. So that way it sold you on the system. That's what, because I remember my buddy got a DS from his girlfriend. We were in college at the time, community college, of course. And he got a DS, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And he was like, nah, it's really cool. I was like, nah, it's kind of lame, kind of gimmicky. And then he popped in the Metroid Prime Hunters demo, and I was like, nah, that's kind of neat. And then Samus was on the bottom screen, like crouched, and then she stood up, and it was stretched across both screens, and I was like, I kind of need this. And so I remember, and then we played the demo, and I was like, holy fuck, this is the coolest thing in the world. And I called around to all the places, and nobody had it. And then one morning, like the next day, I called a Sam Goody that was like a half hour away.
Yeah, I haven't heard that name in a long ass time.
Yeah, I called the Sam Goody, and they were like, we have 2. I was like, all right, I'm in class right now, but I'm coming. And like, I just got up and left class, and they're like, where are you going? I was like, emergency. And I drove and got it, and then I came back, and I just literally, they had like this eating hall where you could smoke cigarettes, and I just sat there the whole day and just smoked. I didn't go to any of my classes, just sat there and smoked cigarettes and played Super Mario 64 and the Metroid demo.
I can't believe when I first met you, I thought you were a college graduate with a journalist degree.
No, fake it till you make it.
Well, you faked it pretty well. There's
Well,
another. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, well, maybe that is the problem. You know, the marketing behind it just doesn't exist anymore, other than their.
Well, I mean, even that game didn't sell. That game only sold like 1.3 mil on the DS, which is a higher tier for a Metroid game. But
At least there was something enticing about it, other than like, okay, here it is, play it.
And
you know
watch.
that IGN gave it a 9 out of 10, which is the same score that Jason gave Kickbeat on the Wii U.
Oh my god, I will beat the shit out of you. So
Prove it.
where
I don't
was-
know. Between you and Sean, I think Sean would win.
I mean,
Yeah, I'd kick his
no no weapons, no weapons.
No, what do you?
That's
You bring
more in my
weapons?
favor. I was gonna give you like a gun or some brass knucks or something.
How about katana, like wooden katanas, swords?
Jesus,
Canadians are allergic to guns.
We are.
he probably doesn't know this. Is RE8 worth the $60 on Xbox One? I don't know. I played it on Series X.
You know what's gonna happen with the Metroid Prime IP or Metroid IP? 4 is gonna come out as the Switch is like going through an identity change or like moving to the new, and it's going to be considered like the last first party IP on the Switch, and it's gonna get forgotten about, and it's just gonna flop again. The way things are lining up.
They had a standee for Metroid Prime Hunters because I remember I was working at GameStop when it came out, maybe, and I took it home with me, and it was huge. It was like this big.
Where is
and it was
that?
just in my living room. Like you'd walk into my little apartment, and there
Samus?
was a staring at you. Yeah, it was Samus.
Hot.
What'd you do to her? Where'd she go?
I threw it away when I moved.
So sad. I had a stormtrooper that I kept around the house.
I had so many fucking standees.
I have
It
one
was
back
always
there.
because it was always, it was always just, first come, first serve on shit like that.
What is your dream dead IP coming back from the dead? I feel all the IPs have come up from the dead at this point.
Metroid.
I think I only have one. That's probably Condemned.
I would love to see Condemned.
I would
come
like to
back.
see a retro style Rocket Knight, not that remake that they made a decade ago or whatever, but a proper like 16-bit Rocket Knight.
And who owns Rocket Knight?
Konami.
Good luck.
F for all
Fuck,
the
this
Konami
game got
brands.
expensive.
With their random releases.
Or a Castlevania, honestly. Make a new Castlevania. Any other questions before we wrap up, or any other thoughts from you two on anything?
What about
For
fear?
for a minute, I thought you were lifting your shirt, and I thought Kirby's cheek was your nipple.
Who says it wasn't?
I would love fear to. Well, I don't know because fear 3 kind of sucked.
Boyo.
Mega Man Legends. There's a couple out there.
What is the next game we're getting from Monolith Soft?
Probably Chronicles X, I would say.
Aren't they doing Breath of the Wild too?
No, they're just helping, but not. It's not their thing.
And it looks like they're making. I would not be surprised to see a third IP, like helping on Zelda, doing the next Xeno game, and then something else. Libertarian Clips. Yes, that actually Grimoire of Souls. I did play it before they shut it down. I did enjoy it. And then they did do Bloodstain, but that is not a Konami game or a Castlevania game. And the second one was bad. All right, as we wrap up the show, what's coming up this week for you, Sean? You muted yourself, but I could read.
No, I didn't.
Oh, no idea. Okay.
Yeah, I've no idea. We'll figure it out as we go along.
How about you, Greg?
Streams
on your horizon?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be streaming some more Resident Evil Village. Like I mentioned last time, I did start a TikTok. I'm actually having some fun with it just because I like, another outlet just to put up some stuff about my gaming collection, pickups, and I like a platform. But if you want to follow me there, it's at Dynamite Giraffe as well there too. I might be doing some guides for Apex Legends. I'm not sure yet. But you can find that on PC Invasion with my news coverage. Still updating my Instagram as well, at Dynamite_Giraffe there. And I think that's it, really. Very
good. If anyone cares about Monster Hunter, be sure to check out my channel, Hey Jay, Monster Hunter, all day, every day, 24/7. I've also got three Monster Hunter streams coming. Tuesdays is Rise, Thursdays is World, Sundays is multiplayer streams. And on Thursday, I'm finishing the story of Monster Hunter World Iceborne. And on Tuesday, I'm entering high rank Monster Hunter Rise. And the way things are going, by the time I finish one of them, Monster Hunter Stories 2 is going to be out, and I'll be streaming that. So it's Monster Hunter year. Otherwise, I think that's it. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll see you all next week. Same time, same channel. And until then, keep it classy, or as Sean would say,
keep it classy.
Or as Greg would say,
a little bit of both.
Have a good night, everyone.